Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling. Hope you guys had an amazing Wednesday. Hopefully the week that you guys are having isn't treating you too harshly. Don't you mind that? We have an interesting episode of AEW Dynamite. We have TNA and also Ring of Honor tomorrow night. We also have WWE SmackDown is set to be a good one. Obviously, this is the go home show before WWE takes Jeddah, Saudi Arabia crown jewel. So that should be a must watch. So yeah, hope you guys are doing great. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today, all lined up. Today we have our WWE NXT review. We have our AEW Dynamite preview. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Sami Zayn and his future storyline. Will he turn heel? Which bloodline faction will he join? Or will he simply go join his best friend Kevin Owens? Obviously, there's still a lot of rumors and different storylines that could develop due to just this one decision made by Sami Zayn, which is actually kind of cool, getting some attention that I feel like he most definitely deserves. In our fourth segment, Vince McMahon in the news once again. Last night, I did a podcast, kind of talking about him starting his own wrestling promotion. Obviously, it's been kind of cleared up within the news media, wrestling news media. Sorry, there's an app buzzing around me. But I guess there's going to be no similarities to WWE. It's supposed to be like an entertainment thing that can, help develop and produce shows, basically. And, I'm not too sure how well, that would go. And we're going to talk about that. And of course, in our fifth and final segment, something we do every Wednesday, we talk about, my weekly wrestling news roundup, talk about all the major breaking news surrounding the world of professional wrestling. So, yeah, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Do not go anywhere. All right, so let's go and jump on into our first topic. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up the super thanks. Go ahead and hit up that super chat, whether you've got a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network. We are all ears, 1,010%. So, don't be shy. Let's keep this conversation going. We obviously want you guys to feel like you guys are part of the loop in the mix. So, yeah, drop your thought. Tell me how you feel. And if you really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's that $ below the chat box. Whatever you guys put inside that box is going to be guaranteed to be featured, talked about, maybe if it's that juicy enough, debated on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. Also, it's a great way, through donating, we can keep all the lights on in terms of these shows, all these amazing podcasters who have one goal in mind is to make sure you guys feel fully satisfied with the sports content that you guys love so dang much. Believe me, I watched the other shows and, they definitely live up to the hype. We are super grateful, obviously, for you guys. Each and every one of you guys who joins us here on the GSMC Sports Network daily. So, thank you in advance. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's get this party started. And you send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is, bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, super chat, not your thing. It's all good. Go ahead and hit up the gsmcpodcast.net. Hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. But of course, in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable criticisms, some back and forth debate, some disagreements. It's going to happen. Feedback is a gift, so don't even worry about it. Drop it inside that chat box so we could talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. All right, jumping on into our first segment, WWE NXT review. Heard it, didn't really get not much of a great ratings. Of course, what do you expect going up against the World Series? You got the two biggest businesses, the two biggest Major League Baseball programs going at it. The Yankees and the Dodgers, these guys have so much money. Obviously, the fan bases reach from sea to shining sea. You're either, you have Dodgers fans everywhere. In Montana, you have Yankees fans in South Dakota. It's just because these, the historic success and the historic figures that has been kind of linked to these baseball teams, it's not that easy to kind of stir away. I feel like if you meet baseball fans, I feel like one in every five, maybe one in every five baseball fan is, oh, I like the Dodgers, or hey, I like the Yankees. Maybe I should have jumped on that bandwagon sooner rather than later. I'm an Angels fan, and I believe me, I've had my fair share of broken hearts. But hopefully they get their stuff together. Hopefully they do. I doubt it, but hopefully they do. Damn it, I still doubt it. Just kidding. Moving on. So we're gonna talk about NXT. We were live in the Orlando Performance Center. We had a casket match to kick it off. First ever WWE Women's Casket match. We had Tatum Paxley taking on Wendy Choo. Overall, I thought the match was kind of cool. I did like how it really highlighted how Tatum Paxley could, she could definitely be a future North American Women's Champion, NXT World Women's Champion. Like, I don't want to, get too ahead of myself, but, just that, she shows a lot of signs of being, promising. She's not just that dark gimmick that WWE NXT tosses on their product on the CW to be like, oh, let's just add some weird into this. So it's not like that. She's very gifted inside the ring. Her and Wendy Choo put on a really good match. Wendy Choo has been kind of on a, ever since she made her debut in NXT, all the hype, of her coming back is kind of like this Wyatt figure kind of a, kind of thing. Hasn't really come into fruition. A lot of WWE fans in the universe are, is WWE, they created this storyline and you thought a lot of things were going to come out of it. You saw Rosemary come out of TNA, obviously, in terms of weird and, crazy and dark and ominous. It's kind of equal to her and Wendy Choo. It hasn't really come into play. Maybe this might be a storyline that NXT might might want to ditch along the line. But at the end of the day, you had Tatum Paxley win. And to be honest, that was the right thing to do by WWE NXT Creative. I feel like it was the right choice. It was the right choice. And I'm not trying to hate on Wendy Choo. I think she's a very gifted superstar. But of course you can only have one winner. And this casket match, I feel like all in all, it was kind of a win-win for both of these superstars because everybody in the world of wrestling was watching this match because you're watching two women in a casket match. That's something that's kind of taboo, something that's been kind of forbidden in terms of the world of professional wrestling. But this new innovative style, these new ideas that are broadcasting these women and showing how much of a big star they can be in matches like a Hell in a Cell or a casket match or Last Woman Stand. Like, I like it. I think it's great. Whenever something happens like that, definitely puts a smile to my face. You heard from Trick Williams trying to get Bubba Ray Dudley on his team to go up against Ethan Page and Rich Holland. He kind of kept it real, he kind of, once again blurring the lines between fiction and reality that professional wrestling does. He was, be like, you know what, I'm kind of getting too old for this. I'm getting too old for this. ECW is, definitely like a home field advantage. I personally thought that Bubba Ray, well, he ended up, kind of alluding to a match later on in the show, of course, with that promo with Ethan Page and Rich Holland. But then you saw, like, I feel like after that you saw RVD kind of come in, kind of talk to Ava, being like, okay, I know what I want to do. And I was like, okay, so is he teaming up with Trick Williams? Not that it would be bad, everybody loves and respects, RVD. But overall, I'd love to see Bully Ray to getting back into the squared circle. So, Kaylani Jordan, the former NXT Women's North American Champion, confronts Ava after losing her NXT title at Halloween Havoc. Obviously, it was an unfair. Well, not really unfair because they spanned a wheel, and whatever happened happened. She went up against all three members of the Fatal Influence. At first it was Jasmine Nix, and then it was JC Jane, and then at last you had Fallon Henley, who was able to kind of take advantage of. She's the ultimate opportunistic woman. Jasmine Nix and JC Jane came back out, and it was just the bread and butter. And that's something that wrestling fans shouldn't really get too upset about because when you think about a heel in terms of professional wrestling, That's just something that they do. That's just something, they cheat to win. And they, really can't get too upset about it. Although sometimes I was like, oh, kind of sucks for Kaylani. Kaylani, sorry, excuse me. But she did her due diligence. When she won the title, she came out in her celebration speech, basically stating that she wants to put this Women's North American Championship on the map, make it prestigious, have a nice little run. And to be honest, I think she did that, and did more. And did more, 1,010%. So she shouldn't really be, too upset or anything like that. So we had Nikita Lyons confront Kaylani Jordan, which she ended up Lyons ended up losing to Kaylani Jordan later that night. I thought that was actually kind of cool. Nikita Lyons, she's cool when she comes back, when she came back from an injury. But, just because Kaylani Jordan, she lost a spot in Halloween Havoc, lost her title. I did not want her to kind of seem like she was spiraling down the tube, kind of being like there were, WWE NXT was ultimately like going to move off of her as as a main product, as like not main product, sorry, excuse me, but as like a main woman that could be the product of NXT and kind of be the face of it. Like, you know what I mean? Even yesterday you were seeing, on the CW they were promoting NXT and you saw Kehlani Jordan. So she's definitely the face of NXT as well. Next, we have an NXT Heritage Cup Championship. Charlie Dempsey of the North Quarter Catch Crew, accompanied by Miles Bourne, Tavion Heights, and Ren Sinclair, taking on Lexis King, who was accompanied by Charlie Dempsey's father, Sir William Regal. At the end of the match, you kind of saw signs that maybe Lexis King is truly, trying to change. And, I like the spot for him. I think he's a very gifted superstar. When he came over from AEW, I was kind of like, all right, great, another AEW talent that I feel like can't really mesh well on NXT. But, with the new crowning of the North American Championship with Tony D'Angelo, he definitely has a future of, like a mid card title. Jumping up to the main title, maybe that could possibly work, but I feel like now you're kind of hinting at, Trick Williams and Rich Holland going at it. But you had Charlie Dempsey pick up the victory. Sir William Regal had the power of the punch, those brass knuckles that has, led him to so much success in WWE, winning matches and stuff like that. And he was able, Lexis King kind of fought him off. He was like, no, 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 thank you. I was kind of getting vibes like a Don Callis kind of vibes where he has that where he has that screwdriver. And ultimately, like Will Ospreay was like, no. And then at first, Kyle Fletcher was like, no, I don't want to use it, man. I want to win. I want to win admirably. I want to maintain my integrity if whether if I win or lose this match. So maybe this could be heading down to like a William Regal becoming like a manager where he, maybe he might try to sway Lexis King to, go back into his, disgusting. I'm just kidding. No, no. But anyways, so we had Zaria, obviously very impressive win against Brinley Reese. At the end of the match, she was cornered by Fatal Influence and also, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. You saw, Kaylani Jordan came out first. And then you saw, damn it, you saw Julia and Stephanie Becerra. And then, at the most shocking moments, you saw the former TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace come out to kind of stay her claim inside that match, which I thought ultimately was, was pretty badass. I thought that was super cool. Overall, just a lot of setup for now. We're gonna have a 10-man women's tag team match next week, and it should be should be pretty awesome. Should be pretty awesome. Just a little sneak peek of what lies ahead of November in Philadelphia on Wednesday, going head to head with Dynamite. Ooh, ouch. We have a hardcore match with Jada Parker taking on Lola Vice. And former WWE/ECW superstar Dawn Marie will be the special guest referee. Trick Williams and Bubba Ray Dudley will take on Ethan Page and Rich Holland. We have, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, Fatal Influences, Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix taking on Julia, Stephanie Vacore, also Jordan Grace, Zaria, and Kaylani Jordan. That should be pretty badass. I can't wait to see, And the main event, you saw Nathan Fraser and Axiom retain their titles, which was pretty great. Definitely a story that is emerging is, you are rapidly seeing Javon Evans, kind of loses cool, kind of something, that boy be bouncy, kind of that's something that, I actually kind of admired from him. I thought, it was kind of cool that he was at heart a wrestling fan, a WWE fan, and he made it to superstardom. Obviously, he's young, he's the future of WWE NXT. He's gonna be somebody without a doubt. So, maybe heading toward like a heel turn. I wouldn't really invest too much time into that. I feel like the fans love him so much, and him as a babyface is just more marketable on NXT. You have, Wes Lee. You also have Ethan Page. You have Ridge Holland. You have Oba Femi. Not a lot of complete like heels. I don't know. I don't even know if the No Quarter Catch Crew would be kind of considered heels. But I don't know. Overall, it's would be interesting to kind of find out if they decide to book him in like a heel role. But me personally, I don't think that would really. I don't think that would be good for his career or WWE NXT. All right, moving on. We have our second segment. We're going to talk about some AEW Dynamite. We're going to preview it. We're going to talk about it. Maybe a couple of predictions. I already know it aired on the East Coast already. I have it recorded. I have it taped. Have not checked a single shred of social media. No TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook for no content or updates or anything like that. So I'm going in blind, and I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be awesome. So join me here when we come back from this commercial break. So hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about everything in terms of the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage, current call, rumors. We talk about superstar, inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and signings. We talk about promotions from WWE to the CMLL, the GCW to New Japan Professional Wrestling, from Stardom to, Ring of Honor. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. So make sure you guys tune in Monday through Friday on the GSMC Sports Network to, learn a little bit about some good old-fashioned wrestling. All right, guys, so just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE NXT review, and now we're going to talk about some AEW Dynamite. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat, whether if you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love, you guys' opinions. Obviously, we are all ears. Give me a shout out where you're listening from or just how you feel about wrestling as a whole. It doesn't have to be TNA, it doesn't have to be WWE NXT. Just drop a little fun fact. Maybe like a Jeopardy question that would be pretty badass. We are all ears, guys. Just remember that. It's nice to keep the conversation lively, making sure that if you guys feel like this is your show just as much as it is, as it is mine, your voice, we want you guys to feel like you're part of the mix. So do not be shy. Do not be shy and drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if we really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed, why not use that super chat? It's that $sign there below that chat box. Go ahead and hit it up. Guarantee you whatever you guys put inside there will be talked about. If it's juicy enough, could be debated about, could definitely take the place and be a segment on the show. It's always cool to have a lot of fans engagement. I don't want to be up here just, yelling at the mic for like an hour and a half or so I definitely love and respect your guys' your opinions 1,010%. So obviously, plus it's a great way to keep the support the channel, guys, at the GSMC Sports Network. We definitely want to make sure that you guys are fully satisfied in terms of the sports content that you guys love to consume on a daily basis. We definitely love and we care about our audiences 1,010%. I can give you the Eric Rodriguez guarantee that you will never, ever, ever regret subscribing to such an amazing sports network that obviously prides themselves and our success is make sure that you guys feel like you guys are happy, and that's just something like kind of like the philosophy here. This family run organization. We're good people. We're not like those corporate conglomerate. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not like gonna get into that. But anyways, we are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. So thank you for your support. It makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep this party going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, super chat, not your thing. Hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me a shout out where you're listening from. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010%. But of course, in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable. There's going to be some disagreements. There's going to be some fuel to this fire. I'm just kidding. With all due respect, obviously, with all due respect, we definitely love the opinions of the viewers. Definitely love and can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Feedback is a gift, so don't be shy. Drop however you feel inside that chat, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. All right, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. AEW Dynamite is live from Wolfstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio. This is the third episode of Dynamite during the 6-week, build toward AEW's full gear, which is taking place in November 23rd, which feels like a month away, but in reality, it's like 2 weeks. I'm just kidding. No, like time is going by. So these holidays are going by so fast, man. I got to be honest. Taking my kids trick or treating tomorrow. I felt like I just put up the Halloween decorations up yesterday, and I put them up. I think it was the second week of October because I was like, you know what, when's the right time to kind of put up some decorations? And now I'm going to be stuck with that same question, wondering when's the right time to put up some Christmas decorations without seeming, too obnoxious. I know a lot of times some people see Christmas decorations. By all means, some people do have their legitimate reasons why they do not like Christmas. Obviously, I'm not going to get into it. It's not that type of podcast. We're going to talk about wrestling. But, by all means, I'm a huge Christmas guy. I love Christmas. I love the togetherness of family, friends, and just anybody. It's it's kind of cool. But we're here to talk about Dynamite. Can't wait to watch it. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have Shelton Benjamin taking on Swerve Strickland. I can't help but to believe that this has something to do with Bobby Lashley debuting in the AEW. And like I said, I have not watched it. It could have happened or it could have not happened. I can sound like a complete idiot right now. Swerve Strickland is better than Shelton Benjamin. He's better than Shelton Benjamin. Something has to get to the point where, MVP is going to be doing anything, pulling out all the stops to ultimately have this new Hurt Business syndicate, this faction not look weak. To be honest, at this point, you can't really afford that because Swerve Strickland was offered to join the Hurt Syndicate, basically crumbled up MVP's business card and threw it right in front of his face and kind of, spat on it on its way down to the ground. It was, he decided to ultimately kind of bet on himself, stay true to, Prince Nana. So I feel like the only way that this could end up in favor of the Hurt Syndicate is if you have Bobby Lashley debut. I've been, talking about a couple of names as well as Powerhouse Hobbs as well joining the fray. He's cleared to compete. He's been recently kind of lingering around AEW Dynamite backstage, so I feel like it's only a matter of time. Maybe he will do it first or, debut and, be on the Hurt Syndicate. But obviously these aren't, my opinions 1,010%. But, I feel like this is going to be a great episode. Fright Night from Dynamite. It's going to be a It's going to be pretty great. And if Swerve Strickland and Bobby Lashley come face to face tonight inside that AEW ring, I got to be honest, they're probably going to hear me screaming like a little girl all the way from Cleveland, Ohio. Me, like, getting so crazy because this is like two big wrestling competitors. Both of them had their little stint in WWE, and it wasn't any of their faults of why it didn't really work out. And both of the superstars were kind of let go earlier because of the pandemic and roster cuts and stuff like that. And then Bobby Lashley was ultimately brought back, but then WWE didn't know how to book him after basically everybody decided to come back and work for WWE after during the unprecedented dangerous times that was the COVID-19 pandemic. So then Bobby Lashley in an interview kind of be like, yeah, it feels like we were the workhorses. Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, the Hurt Business. When he was a WWE champion, they were working their arses off, and at the end of the day, the moment other wrestlers decided to be like, all right, now I'm ready to fight again after the pandemic kind of subsided. Obviously, during the day and age of the Thunderdome and the empty arenas, Bobby Lashley found a lot of success inside WWE, and it's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking because I was definitely keen. I was definitely promoting the fact that Bobby Lashley should stay with WWE. I was a WWE fan before I started watching any other wrestling promotion, so obviously I do have some sort of a soft spot, maybe like a biases or something like that. But I love AEW as well. AEW. Like I mentioned it before in a couple podcasts that I definitely love the way it's a little more edgier. Definitely appeals to like the more or less kind of like the young adults. The seasoned veterans that definitely love themselves some nostalgic WCW feeling, and they're nowhere. Obviously comparing to the WCW is silly and it's a myth, but what Tony Khan has done within the span of AEW's existence has been phenomenal. Has been absolutely, it's been admirable. It's been great. And Tony Khan, he's great with his wrestlers, definitely loves, respects them, do anything for his talent. Talent comes first. Obviously, these guys at the end of the day, they got to watch out for their injuries. They got to spend time with their families whenever they're not on the road. They're on the road. You know, um, they do shows, Collision, Rampage, Dynamite, and some PLEs. So it's not an easy kind of life, and I feel like Tony Khan knows that, and he's like, you know what? At the end of the day, all of us are, this is a job. This is a job, and the best thing about a job is once when you get along with your coworkers, and you kind of look at yourselves in the mirror and kind of know that I was like, you know what? A lot of these people would rather be back home with their families working 9 to 5 jobs. And, maybe, if, they make that much money. It's like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and let's go gun ho and do it. But, I don't know, definitely, that's one of the reasons why I love Tony Khan, the familyness factor of it. The family. It's all about the family. All right, we have a AEW World Tag Team Championship match between Matthew and Nicholas Jackson of the Elite taking on Private Party Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. This should be pretty dope. This should be pretty awesome. And if they lose the match, they must split up forever. Usually when that happens, I feel like with their back against the wall, they'll get the job done. Obviously, they earned another title shot after the Young Bucks defeated them at Wrestle Dream. I feel like it's time for the Young Bucks to drop the titles. I thought they were gonna drop it at Wrestle Dream, just forcing this, not forcing it, but kind of introducing this rematch, but kind of running it back. I feel like this is definitely going to wind up in favor of Private Party. They've been around AEW since like the very beginning. If anybody decides to take the tag team like division into new heights, it's got to be Private Party because right now, Matthew Nicholas Jackson, I got to be honest, they kind of dug themselves in this hole with this absolutely dog crap of a storyline that was the Elite. Getting Kaz Okada, getting Jack Perry, like it just doesn't fit. And you don't really see these guys together that much anymore on screen. And it's kind of like a storyline that's been kind of being brushed under the rug, and a lot of people assume that AEW wrestling fans kind of just like forgot about it. They don't really care. I do kind of care because you didn't see like a conclusion to this group. You know what I mean? Like kind of like the reason why WCW writing was kind of was kind of in the garbage. As one week, this and this and that could be going on, And then the next week, it's like it's not, nothing ever happened, and that's something that WWE has done as well in the past. But I don't know, it's should be pretty crazy. We have Chris Statlander taking on Camille, booked for tonight. Statlander is heading toward a babyface. I know it's been well known all of the wrestling news media then, and I feel like she's great as a babyface. Monet, obviously, is going to come out, try to do her due diligence and kind of help Camille in any way. We have Adam Cole returning to the ring in singles competition against Buddy Matthews. Last week, we saw him kind of, Chris everything over with his Undisputed Kingdom, maybe heading toward Undisputed Kingdom taking on House of Black would be pretty interesting. But, he's kind of stating to fight MJF at Full Gear. So, I don't know, it should be pretty crazy. And we're probably going to hear from Jon Moxley tonight. Obviously, the direction he wants to take AEW Dynamite. The rest of the Blackpool Combat Club members, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, Mariah Shafir, and also Wheeler Yuta are set. Hangman Adam Page is also set to talk about, what's next for him. Maybe taking on Switchblade Jay White once again. Darby Allin, he's been expected to be on the show. Orange Cassidy, I believe, is going to perhaps confront Jon Moxley, especially after what happened to Chuck Taylor last week on Dynamite. And it's going to be a great episode. I can't wait to watch it. AEW has rapidly become a really favorite show of mine in terms of wrestling. So it's kind of the first, obviously the PLEs, and then we have SmackDown, and we have AEW, and then we have Raw. I like Raw, but I I don't know. Maybe it could go into a better direction and stuff, but I don't know. It's hard to kind of put it's hard to put lemons above oranges. I'm just kidding. No. Moving on. So our third segment, guys, do not go anywhere. After this commercial break, we're going to talk about some Sami Zayn potential storylines. Maybe him turning heel. Which side will he choose? We're going to talk about it when we come back. So hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring. We talk about superstar, news and active statuses, injury updates. We talk about contract extensions, negotiations, and also signings. We talk about promotions from WWE to AEW to CMLL to GCW. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1010%. So just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our NXT review. We talked a little bit about what to expect from AEW Dynamite tonight. Some Fright Night should be pretty awesome. And without further ado, we're going to jump on into our third segment. We're going to talk about Sami Zayn's next storyline. Obviously, before we get started with any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super thanks right there. Hit up the super chat. It's that $sign below the chat box, whatever you guys put in there. It's going to be featured on this show. Whether if you got a burning question or hot take in terms of professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are all ears 1010%. So don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel. It helps us keep the lights on in terms of, keeping these amazing podcasters doing what they're passionate about. It's talking sports, making sure that you guys feel like your love for sports content is being consumed at an amazing, healthy manner. That's what we're here for, 1010%. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. So thank you in advance. You guys are so amazing. We owe you guys everything. So let's get this party going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, if the super chat not your thing, it's all good. Go ahead and hit up the GSMCpodcast.net, the tips and donations link. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010%. Of course, sometimes in terms of talking sports, there's disagreements, there's criticisms. Feedback is a gift overall. Do not be shy. Drop however you guys feel inside that chat, and we can have a nice little discussion about it. All right, so now our third segment, we have some Sami Zayn talk. Sami Zayn, obviously, on Monday Night Raw, you saw him in a conversation with Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso backstage, and it seemed like the storyline. It seemed like it was it's just boiling over. It's the storyline. The moment you feel like it can't get can't get any more better, or there's not another twist and turn to kind of add into the unpredictability of professional wrestling, and just to kind of add into the meat of this amazing stew that is the Bloodline storyline. A lot of people thought that after WrestleMania 40, when Cody Rhodes finished his story, that that this Bloodline storyline, like, what was going to happen with everybody. And Paul Heyman even said in an interview that it was funny because a lot of people did think that, but at the end of the day, he said it was like basically the third inning just started. Kind of crazy, but without a doubt, you have a lot of future stars in WWE. Obviously, you have the current, face of professional wrestling, that is Roman Reigns. And Cody Rhodes right now, he's out of the storyline. He's kind of, taking a back seat to it, which I ultimately kind of prefer. I feel like it's better in terms of WWE. Obviously, he will, some way, somehow, he will be brought back, mostly probably because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is set to come back to WWE. Obviously, during this new day and age of the Netflix era, with Raw being having a 10-year contract worth billions. So there's no doubt in my mind that this is just going to get better and better and better. Sami Zayn, he's looking for a sense of belonging. What's going on Monday Night Raw right now, besides him having, here and there stints and, backstage promos with Jey Uso, his boy. He lost the Intercontinental Championship. He tried to get it back, didn't really get it back. He won a shot at the World Heavyweight Champion, didn't really, didn't really get it back, or, well, not didn't get it back, but he didn't win. And now you have him just kind of floating around Monday Night Raw as, kind of like that lovable hero that doesn't really have a sense of belonging. Doesn't really seem like this character has a storyline. And then all of a sudden, after this, this new blooming amazingness that is the Bloodline storyline, and you have the OG Bloodline taking on the new Bloodline. On after WWE SmackDown went off the air on Friday, you had Jimmy, Jay, and Roman. Put "We the Ones" inside the ring, which was actually pretty badass. I love that. That was super cool. But I don't know. The question is, where does Sami Zayn fit inside this? And being brutally honest, I don't like him as a heel. Like, he did it for quite some time. He was the honorary Uce before that. He was kind of like, damn it, what was he? He kind of named himself he was the self-proclaimed, like, oh my God, I forgot what it was. Kind of gave me like vibes like, like Dean Ambrose. Like, while he exited WWE, that trash character storyline, and that's the reason why he left for AEW. Actually, it's kind of funny, but I feel like Sami Zayn, he's the hero that people love to cheer for. He's that guy that you can put up against absolutely anybody. You can sell, posters and stuff like that, and it's gonna sell. He's gonna sell pay-per-views. He's gonna sell PLEs. He's gonna help people subscribe to Peacock. But overall, I feel like Sami Zayn needs a direction. Recently you've seen Solo Sikoa take to social media on Wednesday, sharing a nostalgic video, and with the quote unquote words "my dog," so. maybe something could happen where you kind of have Sami Zayn being stuck in the middle where he ultimately wants to be there for Jay, only Jay. Jimmy, Roman, he's not a huge fan of. And it's just kind of crazy because the last time you saw Sami Zayn being assimilated in this bloodline storyline, he was kind of stuck in between members as well. So now it's just gonna be it's gonna be super funny how Roman Reigns is probably going to be like, we need you, Sammy, we need you, and then just in the back of Sammy's mind, how he's like, you know what? I know what these people are capable of. Kevin Owens was telling me the whole time that these guys are going to stab you in the back when they have a chance, and that's exactly what happened. It was crazy. So, Sami Zayn being faced with a lot of decisions to kind of make, but the person who has the most decisions is probably the character that, the writer that is, that's going to be responsible for writing for Sami Zayn or the group of writers. So it should be pretty interesting. Maybe they could be heading toward a toxic relationship between Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn. I don't know how Sammy is in terms of how much he respect Solo. It wasn't really Solo pulling the strings behind, Sami Zayn being excommunicated from the original Bloodline storyline. But I don't know. It could be crazy. It could be an absolute curveball in this Bloodline storyline. But I just hope Sami Zayn doesn't turn heel. And of course, when you expect him maybe to kind of be a part of the new young bloodline, like you have Tamatanga Tangaloa, Jacob Fatu, then you have Solo Sikoa, and with opening up, having open arms with Sammy. He's like, you know what, my dog, you can definitely join us. I consider you a brother. I consider you family. And Jey Uso, told Sami Zayn in front of his face on Monday Night Raw that, dude, you're not family, Us. So I don't know where those words really resonated with Sami Zayn. I got to be honest, I would feel a little hurt. I would definitely feel a little hurt, 1,010%. This guy that after everything went down with the bloodline, he was watching his back, and Monday Night Raw, he had Jey Uso had a huge target on the back of his neck, basically because of all the BS and all the absolute carnage that him and the bloodline caused a lot of people, like Roman, Jimmy, like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where Sami Zayn wants people to feel like, or he wants, he kind of has this storyline role that is kind of, that kind of connects to like what Kevin Owens was saying, how these people, they need to be held accountable. They just can't do effed up crap to everybody. And then, the moment Roman turns babyface, all of a sudden, now it's water under the bridge. It's water under the bridge. What about, Randy Orton being taken out by the bloodline? Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, forced to throw a chair shot at Kevin Owens and kick him kick him where the sun don't shine at that War Games, at that War Games match. But it's definitely a delicate storyline. I definitely feel like right now Sami Zayn's character is like, on the precipice of either being something really great, obviously, or if it's written badly, or I see him go to this new bloodline, maybe it might work at the end of the day. Maybe Solo Sikoa, abuses Sami Zayn the moment he joins, and then like he's like, oh crap, maybe maybe it was like a toxic relationship that I ultimately should have avoided. But Sami Zayn's a very gifted superstar. I did a segment on some of the wrestling stars that could wind up switching brands, and he was definitely one of my top 10. Sami Zayn going to SmackDown, trying to find new heights, being a part of this bloodline storyline, which is great for Sammy. I honestly don't feel any reason why he should be excluded from these bookings. I feel like ultimately it could definitely add a lot more tension to exactly who does Sami Zayn align himself with, and it's going to create this kind of this tribal territorial ultimate like storyline that is going to be on Friday Night SmackDown, because at the end of the day, what if Sami Zayn joins Kevin Owens? What if they have their own personal, faction, all the people who say F the bloodline, you know, they come together like people, like wrestlers like, for example, like the Street Profits or Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Once when they lost against the Motor City Machine Guns, they ultimately left. Tommaso Ciampa was, super frustrated, and so was Johnny Gargano, maybe hinting at a potential, being like they could join this faction of Kevin Owens, because at this point Owens can't really stand on his own. He can't really stand on his own. And if this match that is according to Dave Meltzer, the Professional Wrestling Insider, if this match between him and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship at NBC, Saturday night's main event in December. I know it's quite some time ago. Quite some time away. If you have this faction promoted by Kevin Owens, you have an aggressive tag team like DIY, and then you have Sami Zayn that he's not necessarily a bad guy. He's just kind of looking for a sense of belonging. Once again, how you saw Sami Zayn at the end of his run with the original Bloodline with Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and Roman Reigns and Jimmy as well. You kind of had this guy that, he, looked scared. He didn't know exactly what was going to go on. But, you being all by yourself on the roster, is, kind of bad juju. It's kind of bad news. So ultimately, Sami Zayn would kind of have to find a faction to kind of subside with. And, I feel like it's more likely that he winds up with Jay, Jimmy, and Roman Reigns. Obviously, you have that 6-man tag team match at Crown Jewel. Something's got to give. The new young bloodline still have one more man. They outman them. Maybe he finds a way to to help even the odds and makes the rescue, and then all that and a bag of chips. And then he's accepted, and then everything's all good again. Obviously that would be a huge kind of for me, I'm like, okay, so if that's the case, why did you have that tension build up between that backstage promo between him, Jimmy, and Jay, talking about how he doesn't trust Roman Reigns? So maybe, that's the only thing that kind of, steers me away from that. But the storyline has just been absolutely genius. It's crazy. You have Roman Reigns become a babyface at what cost? Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird and kind of like different and intricate to kind of think about. Like, you have all these superstars like Kevin Owens and maybe Sami Zayn that were baby faces, but now are they necessarily heels? Or did Roman Reigns during his reigning championship as a heel, his long run, is it like leaving wrestlers to kind of be like, look, man, I'm not trying to hate on Roman Reigns, because everybody right now in the fans, everybody in the stadium is chanting his name. So people are like, all right, this person is against the bloodline. This person's against the OTC, Jimmy and Jay. And that's something that Jey Uso ultimately had to accept the responsibility of, was, all right, now I'm going to associate my name with, this guy who, screwed so many people over, and my brother who tried to screw me over. And, we fought at WrestleMania. For Sami Zayn, he was like, dude, how could you go back to that? How could you just agree to be with these people? He's just trying to stick up for his friend, and once again, where you kind of have a friend stuck in the middle, like Cody Rhodes he was in the middle. Then he had to team up with Roman Reigns. And then you saw Kevin Owens, attack him in the parking lot and stuff like that. Obviously, I hope Sami Zayn doesn't go down that role. But, it's at this point, anything's possible. Anything's possible. Now at this point, you're kind of guilty by association, because Roman Reigns is hated, absolutely hated by everybody on the Raw roster. So, this babyface that the fans love so damn much. And, and it's kind of cool, because you have the roster and the WWE audience kind of at odds with each other, kind of this unspoken, rivalry where you're like, you know what, you're all of a sudden gonna love the OTC, when he comes back from that SummerSlam. And it just, just adds to the storyline, just adds fuel to the fire. And I think it's great. I think it's awesome. Wherever Sami, like I said, I don't like him as a heel. I feel like he did spend a lot of time as a heel already. But, at this point, I just gotta trust Triple H, Paul Levesque. All right, guys, so hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our fourth segment. We got former WWE employees join Vince McMahon in his new business venture. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling. Obviously, just got the notification on my phone. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers of winning the World Series. Congratulations to Mookie Betts. Congratulations to Freddie Freeman. Congratulations to that backstabbing. I'm just kidding. No, congratulations to Shohei Ohtani, dude. You ultimately had to lead the Angels to make a name for yourself. So definitely got to, love and respect my man Shohei. So, congratulations. It would have been awesome if we could have, enjoyed some of that glory there. But, as an Angels fan, the heartbreak continues. And those who wear the blue, congratulations here in LA. I'm from Southern California. I'm hearing fireworks outside my door right now. So, a lot of Dodgers fans are happy, obviously, taking down the New York Yankees, who are beloved as well. So, congratulations to the New York Yankees as well. They had a hell of a season. Obviously, I feel like the Yankees are definitely one of the most talented ball clubs in the whole entire world. And I don't know why this ultimately kind of compares, and I'll get back to wrestling. I'll keep this brief. Kind of reminds me of, kind of like the Dallas Cowboys of the NFL. You have all this talent, all these big names like CeeDee Lamb, like Micah Parsons, like when you had Amari Cooper there, and back when it was Tony Romo, you had, Terrell Owens, you had Des Bryant, Miles Austin, you had Jason Witten, you had, Marion Barber. You had all these amazing big names that you could have definitely went on a Super Bowl run with. Obviously, they were in the day and age of Tom Brady. So, and now they're in the day and age of some Patrick Mahomes. So, hell of a season. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. All right, guys, to reflect on what we talked about right quick. We talked about our WWE NXT review. We talked about some AEW Dynamite. Then we talked about Sami Zayn, his future storylines. And now we're going to talk about some former WWE employees. Decided to join Vince McMahon in his recent business venture. Sorry, I don't know why I wanted to say adventure so damn bad. I don't know why. It seems like, little kid stuff, but I don't know. Maybe it is. I'm just kidding. Moving on. January 25th of this year, former WWE employee Janelle Grant files a lawsuit against Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and the WWE alleging sexual abuse, sexual trafficking, and basic verbal abuse as well. In 2022, Vince McMahon paid around $12 million in hush money to 4 women. Obviously, the next day, January 26th, you saw Vince McMahon resign any and all duties from TKO and the WWE. PW Insider reports that Vince McMahon is looking to start a new entertainment company. Professional wrestling is out of the door as of right now. Struggling wrestling, independent wrestling circuits. Recently, you've seen not Vince McMahon, Triple H, Paul Levesque, come out in terms of social media saying that WWE is now going to actually kind of replace what was exactly what was NXT before it became its new, entity on its own right now. Now it's going to start reaching out to a lot of independent professional wrestlers that one day dreams of being a WWE superstar, kind of extending their hand out there, not really kind of having any business, negotiations or any agreements or handshakes, anything yet. But this could definitely be a way for Vince McMahon to kind of edge his way into this. He could definitely, the NWA right now is faltering. The NWA, ever since they lost that agreement with the CW moved on and decided to go with WWE NXT, more family show. And the only blame you had to give was to the NWA writers, the National Wrestling Alliance, who had this booking or this spot on television on the CW network where you saw one of the NWA superstars, wrestlers, go out to the crowd and do a quote unquote doing drugs, a controlled substance with the fans, and it's just which is silly. The CW was like, no, you know what? No, thank you. I'm good. So, maybe Vince McMahon could try to find his way to get his grubby little paws on it. But, anything can happen. Got a chat from my man Anthony Mazzano. What's up, my man? Hope you had a great Wednesday. What are your thoughts on the VID program? That do you think that it's just an upgraded version of NXT? Uh, line in next, I think NXT. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what they have now, and I think that's exactly 1,010% correct. A couple of months ago, when you had this announcement of NXT going on to the CW, and I I like it. You've seen a lot of success in what NXT is doing right now with their collaboration with TNA, and you're getting a lot of these interesting styles of wrestling. Of course, you're acquiring big names like Zaria. You're having Jordan Grace come every now and then. You have Julia. You have Stephanie McCure. If you look and pay attention to their matches, it's a whole different style of wrestling. The way they control the tempo inside the squared circle is it's super cool. That's something that a lot of wrestling fans and a lot of you know women in WWE in NXT that are kind of like, all right, gotta kind of ultimately take this one at a time. That's something, the reason why Shawn Michaels isn't adding Julia or Stephanie McCourt to be in any main event spot to challenge or to be an NXT champion or an NXT Women's North American champion. You kind of have these unwritten rules in wrestling. You have to have chemistry with your fellow wrestler. And obviously that's not a knock against Vicure and Julia based on language barriers. It's just going to take time. And I feel like in time they are going to be a huge face inside WWE, and it's just it opens the door to all these amazing wrestling superstars that could definitely find a way to make their scene onto WWE. Joking around, I honestly think the entertainment company that Vince is reported at might be getting involved in might be an adult entertainment, opening up a film company there. Maybe that could work. I do love that. That was actually kind of funny. It's set to be, it's set to kind of ground its headquarters in Los Angeles. That's what I read. And obviously, Silicon Valley. I'm just kidding. No, no, not moving. Not saying too much about that. But that's kind of funny. So do you think NXT becomes a purely third show now, and WWE creates another developmental show that is going to be on YouTube exclusively or on Netflix? On the Netflix, I never thought of that idea, but that could be money. That could be money, and especially on YouTube, like, you have WWE Speed on X. I honestly don't know how long that is going to last. I watched it when it first came out, and I didn't really like it, being honest to you. Especially once when you saw. I felt like that show was ultimately created to kind of keep Ricochet afloat in WWE. And then once when he lost the title, it was like, all right, now who's gonna win it? And you have people like Bronson Reed fighting and stuff like that. Like, you're like, dude, like, why are this is kind of like supposed to take the place of like the cruiserweight title, like 215 Live. But I could see NXT like a level up coming to perhaps like a Netflix. That would be ultimately badass. Or on YouTube. That's something they can definitely market, and they can start bringing in a lot of these new different wrestling fans from different regions of the world, like wrestlers from New Japan Professional Wrestling, like Stardom, like the GCW. And you have all these amazing talents. And, even in Latin America, in this recent partnership with WWE and TKO Holdings with the UFC, they recently opened up a performance center in Mexico City, where they're hoping to bring MMA fighters to the UFC, because I think they said over like 60% of the fighters in UFC are part of Latin American descent. They're all part of 20 different Spanish speaking countries, and WWE definitely could throw their hat in the ring as well. They had a couple of super shows that happened in Mexico City, where you saw the debut of Stephanie Vacura, the former CMLL World Women's Champion, New Japan Professional Wrestling, Women's Strong Champion. So, definitely the sky's the limit. And, I love that they're doing this. It's about time that they did this. For the longest time, you had WWE as that no-go show. They don't want any part of the wrestling, independent circuit. Vince McMahon is, oh, we're better than everybody else. And we know it. Like, you know what I mean? Also got a chat from him, Anthony. I've said this from the beginning. Also, the WWE ID program could be a way to get Mexico and break up the cartel that is Mexico wrestling that's controlled by the CMLL and the AAA. I think in the past podcast, I think you actually, schooled me on a couple of CMLL facts. I check tabs on it here and there. Obviously, I feel like you probably, your area of expertise more than mine. But that's crazy if it's ran by the cartel, that's insane. If that's the case, then maybe something definitely has to change. Like, it's owned right now. It was recently accumulated by Tony Khan. I don't know if anything kind of funny is happening there, but it would be it'd be crazy. Do you feel people are over exaggerating by panicking? They feel that this is going to be a territory situation all over again with the WWE ID program. With the territories, you know, I'm perhaps because I know that's how the NWA had so much of their success in the past. When I say the past, probably like in the '80s and stuff like that, and it was eventually, kind of, not taken over, but it was purged by Vince McMahon of their talent. But overreacting, possibly, and panicking could definitely be a great way to put it. I think you misunderstood what I meant when I said cartels. I'm saying the wrestling business is run by two companies in Mexico. Oh my God, I was gonna say, I was like, dude, that's at the same time, I was like, dude, that's dangerous. But a wrestling company ran by like Mexico cartels, you'd be like, damn, that could be interesting. I'm just kidding, no. But I don't know. It would be that would have been pretty interesting. But ran by the two companies. That's you know right now with professional wrestling and with the new day and age of digital media, I feel like it'd be cool to kind of just have something different. And I did manage to kind of watch a lot of I think I watched the New Japan Professional Wrestling. I watched highlights a couple weeks ago when I was doing their damn it, what was it? King of Wrestling I think it was King of Wrestling. And there was a couple of stars that were, very prominent within the world of CMLL. And I was like, dude, that's, I think they do great inside the ring. And I don't know, I think it's kind of cool how they kicked open that forbidden door that WWE has, closed so much. Obviously, you got to give credit to Triple H, Paul Levesque of, breaking down barriers and be like, you know what, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. Obviously, like I said before, this new partnership with TKO Holdings, Dana White, the president of the UFC, I feel like he kind of goes out there and he's like, you know what, I don't give a rat's ass of where any of these guys come from. If you go inside the octagon and if you put on a good show and if you're a great fighter and if you could be a champion, we want you on this promotion. I feel like right now WWE has, kind of assumed a lot of a mentality in terms of, the UFC and stuff like that. I'm still saying that this is. I'm sticking to my guns. I think they're slowly setting up Darby for heel turn. Oh, we got a first spoiler of the night. Awesome. Oh my God, I'm interested to find out how that Dynamite went. I can't wait to see it. Anthony Mazzano also says, but he feels Tony doesn't believe in him to be the face of the company and the champion. Maybe creating this. You know, I that storyline maybe could possibly, come in fruition. I feels like Tony took his title. I agree. Like John Moxley all of a sudden was like, "All right, I want to challenge Brian Danielson," and Brian Danielson was like, "Yeah, I kind of have to go and get neck surgery, and the only person I really want to drop my title to is the Mox." And he was like, "All right, done and done." So maybe perhaps we could have to, we could have Darby Allin turn heel. It'd be pretty awesome. It'd be pretty cool. Like, I'm not against it. I definitely feel like his character is, obviously mostly known as like, babyface, but he kind of has this dark, like glow to him, where he kind of has his demons, and then sometimes his demons can overall, kind of override his, his contention and his ultimately his, damn it, what am I trying to say, his aspirations, and kind of be like, kind of be that devil on his left shoulder, and be like, hey, if you do this and that and the other, you'll get the respect, you'll be the face, you also earn another title shot. So I definitely think that storyline would be it'd be worth the darn to kind of give it a shot. All right, moving on for the rest of this segment. Gotta, totally speed this up. He said it's going to be PW Insider reports McMahon is looking to start a new entertainment. The Entertainment Hub company, financially, backing and developing, producing film and TV shows. Hopefully not in the adult film industry, although that would be, kind of be like, not really surprised. But there's no plans of launching anything close to the WWE. They're focusing on fiction and non-fiction projects. Several WWE alumni have already, been confirmed to have been working with Vince McMahon, getting this company started, helping it, get afloat. Of course, once when the legal issues, if ever, are kind of resolved. Right now, it is on hold by the U.S. Department of Justice. Former WWE CEO Brad Bloom, Kristen Paltry, also Janelle Grant's representative Kenda Barkoff Lamy had this to say. She said, and I quote, both on and off the camera, Vince McMahon has built a reputation of a violent outburst, sexual deviances, manipulation, and abuse. Anyone who cares about these victims should definitely not, kind of subside and, join business with this absolute monster. I don't know. It's not really, he must be made accountable for. I agree. I agree 1,010%. Obviously, the allegations and stuff like that. Vince McMahon has had a long reputation of exactly what, what this, what Janelle Grant's representative was saying. So it's not really, that far-fetched, or not really like slander, because it's like, all right, all of it seems like it's kind of like, all the writings on the wall. But I don't know, it's a delicate situation, obviously, in terms of, especially speaking about it on the podcast. Definitely wanted to ultimately kind of float around the possibility of him, being in charge of an entertainment conglomeration. A lot of, outside perspectives, who exactly will join this company is, it's gonna be thrown up tonight. It's gonna be thrown up, not tonight. It's gonna be thrown up, within the next couple of months. What's gonna happen with these allegations? Is Vince McMahon going to be acquitted? Is he going to be found guilty? Obviously, can't really, say anything like that. It's just going to be interesting to find out if he tries to find his way back into the wrestling world once again, or link up with a couple of wrestlers that ultimately still, that still love him back, Vince McMahon. Like, for example, like Brock Lesnar, and he's a Brock Lesnar, he's a Vince McMahon guy, but it should be, interesting to find out, moving forward. All right, guys, rapidly running out of time like always. Going to try to finish us off with our Wednesdays weekly wrestling news. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here after this commercial break. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Kind of have to move through this segment, kind of have to put it into hyper overdrive here. We have my boy Emran's GSMC Soccer podcast starting in about 14 minutes. So if you're a fan of soccer or just trying to get into it, it's going to be, off the hook. It's going to be awesome. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Do not change that dial. Do not touch that mouse. Do not touch your laptop. So now let's talk about our Wednesday's weekly wrestling news. But of course, before that, we have another chat by my man Anthony Mazzano. No, I'm not saying it happens tonight. This is a slow burn situation of Darby turning bad because he feels underappreciated, and that's probably the best booking you could do with this Darby Allin character right now. Because right now he kind of you don't really know what to do with him in this slow burn. And the moment that you can, you let this tension, you let this animosity boil up, and for Darby, because that was the main reason why he was kind of feuding with Brody King and his match at Wrestling Dream. He was like, "I'm the face of AEW," and you got jealous. And I got to be honest, when I saw that promo, I was kind of thinking to myself, I was like, "Dude, is he really the face of AEW?" He's definitely a new flavor in terms of what to watch and how to watch Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage, but is he really like the face of it though? Like I don't know. I thought ultimately that I was like, that's maybe could possibly be foreshadowing to a storyline like where he feels underappreciated. Obviously, John Moxley did get that match from Tony Khan about him putting his title on the line. But Darby Allin, he's a badass, man. So it would be interesting to find out what's going to happen with his character next. All right, weekly Wednesday wrestling news. Rhea Ripley is out for an undisclosed amount of time. Her orbital socket, her right eye, is fractured, and real injury issues. Maybe this could possibly be her, her elbow, acting up again. Obviously playing kayfabe to the Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, attack. And right now on Monday Night Raw, it kind of seems ultimately that Rhea Ripley is, just floating around the Raw roster in the women's division until she gets her title back. So this could possibly be a way for Liv Morgan to open up new rivalries, to kind of have somebody like Io Sky maybe challenge her, kind of somebody like Lyra Valkyria, because if Rhea Ripley was still in the picture, you kind of would have to ultimately overstep and kind of, step over Rhea Ripley, where in fact Rhea Ripley is probably one of the best wrestlers in the women's division. So dominant. She's not really that easy to be like, oh, we're gonna have someone lose to we're gonna have Rhea Ripley lose to this and that and the other. You kind of be like, have you seen Rhea Ripley? Have you seen her reaction from the fans? We have to have outside interference. We just have to. We have to. We have to. And this kind of ultimately eliminates it. And trying to promote a lot of this could definitely be opening up the window for returns from Asuka, also returns from Alexa Bliss. Taking on Liv Morgan, that would be a pretty badass match. And I just feel like it's at this point, Rhea Ripley, the moment she challenges for the title again, which I don't think is going to happen. I gotta be honest, I don't really see anybody winning the Women's Royal Rumble besides Rhea Ripley. Like, of course, maybe there might be a couple of wild card. Obviously, if you guys in the chat have a couple of suggestions of who could win the Women's Royal Rumble, make sure you let me know. Or maybe that's when Becky comes back. She could become a 2-time Royal Rumble winner. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not too sure about that, actually. I definitely don't want Charlotte Flair to win. Definitely don't want her to win. That'd suck. Uh, maybe somebody from NXT that's making their way on the Raw roster, SmackDown roster. Maybe something absolutely taboo and forbidden where you had Jordynne Grace win the Women's Royal Rumble would be pretty interesting. But I don't know. Should be pretty crazy. Should be pretty crazy. All right, so sorry, excuse me. Our next news story, we have Liv Morgan inks a new contract, confirms that her WWE contract on an episode and a podcast of The Impulsive with Logan Paul. She's recently signed a 5-year deal with WWE, so congratulations, obviously throwing flowers to Liv Morgan. Obviously, not too not too familiar, but Liv Morgan was she was approached and she kind of talked to a WWE executive when they found themselves at a Hooters and where she was actually working, which was kind of crazy. But she ultimately felt like her working there kind of opened up her personality a little bit, kind of got her to kind of train on the side, kind of being that the total package and stuff like that. Like what I mean, just because you're working a restaurant job doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have to be there for the rest of your life. So Liv Morgan obviously she made herself a WWE superstar, so that's definitely admirable. That's super cool. Obviously, like I'm not too sure. Like I don't hate Liv Morgan. I don't. I'm just not really that hot on her. I think she's better a championship chaser than she is a championship title holder. Because the only reason why you've seen her, win matches is because of cheating. Kind of reminds me of like once when Kevin Owens had his Universal Championship run, where ultimately, yeah, dude, you had the biggest prize in the sports entertainment industry. Congratulations. But at the same time, you were just losing credibility. You were losing stock in your character because you kept, you can't really win a match by yourself, bro. So at the end of the day, you kind of ultimately have to kind of bet on yourself and win an actual match, which Liv Morgan could definitely do. Like maybe you can have a shocking victory against Asuka or Alexa Bliss, or maybe hell, even Charlotte Flair. But you don't really see any of that happening without any outside interference, and I know that plays to the heel factor because that's what a heel does. But I don't know. I feel like Liv Morgan wants a little bit more. I feel like she wants to have that respect of the world champion, but then also kind of have that reputation of being like this heel where at the end of the day you can have somebody watch your back and totally kick some ass. Next we have Cody Rhodes. Wants his time in AEW, wants to look back at the memories as good memories. Obviously, in terms of rumors, basically saying that there was some tension between him and the Elite and the Young Bucks and Tony Khan. Just to, wanted to clear up the air. Obviously, Cody Rhodes seems like he's a good dude. I did watch, I think it was the behind the, like, kind of like a behind the music in terms of like wrestling. And, I was talking about him and what exactly went down in AEW. Um, I feel like Cody Rhodes, he started AEW. A lot of people were shocked because he kept going. He was on air talking constantly that WWE, never. I'm going to finish my career in AEW. Obviously, then Bruce Pritchard, approached him, Triple H, Paul Levesque, and it was just like one of those things where it was like, you know what? At the end of the day, you kind of have to do what's right for yourself. Like, what I mean? Then you get to win back-to-back Royal Rumbles and headline the greatest WrestleMania in recent history. Taking down the Tribal Chief, and obviously, when in terms of success, no matter how you get it, at the end of the day, he said he wants to make sure that, the other guys as well kind of look back at their time and be like, what, that, definitely love and respect Cody Rhodes. And I feel like I feel like that is, that is partially the thing. I feel like that's, hasn't really changed. All right, next we have a former WWE 24/7 champion retired. Tucker, aka Levi Cooper, has retired from professional wrestling. Obviously, you saw him with with Heavy Machinery. They were great in NXT. Called up. Otis won the Money in the Bank, and then Tucker was kind of left in the dust. And they didn't necessarily even have a feud. They didn't get to wrestle each other after that, which was kind of pointless, kind of stupid. So obviously, one of the victims of storylines back when, back in the Vince McMahon 2000 and, 2018 to like 2021, 2022, storyline writings where it's just like, man, that poor bastard. Like, I'm just kidding. No, it was like, man, this poor guy. Obviously a lot of other wrestlers kind of suffered that same fate too. But, good luck to Levi Cooper in his future endeavors. Now we have AJ Styles talking about his TNA Hall of Fame, decline. Kind of kept it OG, being like, you know what, WWE really didn't have anything to do with that because, to be honest, that's what a lot of fans ultimately thought. They were like, how could WWE doing a collaboration with NXT and TNA and not be, not let TNA have the satisfaction of having AJ Styles be inducted into the Hall of Fame. AJ Styles, cleared it up, being like, you know what, I did not take that Hall of Fame induction seriously because I'm not done with professional wrestling. So obviously you've seen Rhino being inducted. He's still wrestling, so maybe there might be some different criteria in, how exactly you become a total nonstop action impact Hall of Famer. So, definitely got to, you got to love, respect AJ Styles. Injured right now, a couple of months, hopefully not more than 6, which would be, kind of detrimental to his career. But, maybe he kind of took this as an insult, maybe perhaps. I'm not too sure. I wouldn't. I feel like, dude, like, why not? That'd be badass. He did so much good in TNA. Next, we have AEW basically officially announcing, AEW WrestleMax and stuff like that. Finally, not really seeming a little bit too, not oblivious. That's not the right word. Kind of like hidden or secretive about the deal. I feel like, Tony Khan, he's basically a step away from being like, you know what? Yeah, they're like, we got this. Like, we got this. We're going to have so much more. We're going to have so much press. We're going to have so much more ticket sales. And it's going to be great. And I feel like they deserve it 1,010%. It's going to be cool. You're going to have Dynamite Collision will stream on the Warner Brothers Discovery-owned HBO Max next year. Pay-per-views as well, expected to be available at a discounted price. And that is honestly number one. Hurrah. The best thing about AEW, and I love Dynamite. I do love Dynamite. Rampage, Collision, but their PLEs are absolutely phenomenal. It's my style of wrestling. All the belts are up for grabs. You have 8, 9 matches on the main card. Then you have 4 pre-show matches. I like all the wrestling. I think it's super cool. They've gotten a lot of scrutiny in the past of having maybe having too many matches. So the fans kind of snooze in and out of it. But I like it. I think it's great. And every single PLE they have, they have an amazing main event lined up. And the major problem that was, the PLEs was, spending like $50 on YouTube or Bleacher Report. Like, what I mean? It'd be nice to kind of have like a Peacock subscription where you can watch WWE Crown Jewel, so now you're going to get that, hopefully that same treatment or environment that Tony Khan is ultimately looking to bestow on having a lot more fans come closer to AEW by ultimately, signing up to this streaming service that is Max. So it can only do great things, and it is going to do great things. It's going to be great for them. So definitely love and respect. Definitely love that. It's super cool. Kenny Omega is set to appear at New Japan Professional Wrestling Power Struggle. He got to a career, an injury where he was like, I don't know where my career is going to go about this. A lot of people actually, they kind of, they died, by in the wrestling ring or after kind of having this. Having this disease or, having this medical operation or medical dispute or whatever. And, now he's coming back to the square circle. He's training, which is cool because Kenny Omega is one of the most respected wrestlers. And, he's an international wrestling sensation. Randy Orton reveals, the mostly, unlikely is the playlist when he works out. He said he loves it when women rappers are just pounding his ear when he's doing reps. He's talking about Cardi B. He's talking about Nicki Minaj. He was also talking about Sexy Red. So ultimately, it comes to a shock, but I love that. I think that's badass. I think that's super cool. The Legend Killer is also the doctor of thugonomics. I'm just kidding. No. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed my show. Thank you guys so much. Got to wrap this up real quick. Emerald Soccer Podcast is started in 1 minute, so get ready for that. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Follow us on Twitter /X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates. And like I said, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, we have all these other amazing podcasts that you guys should check out. Once again, hope you guys had an amazing, beautiful Wednesday. Enjoy your Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow night. Stay beautiful, but most importantly, love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great.